Hey, Miss Lowry. So I wanted to do something a little bit different for this field reflection. I typed everything out, but it's a little bit shorter than the ones they normally are, just because it was an elective that I chose that I really liked. So I'm doing calligraphy. It falls under the visual arts category. I wanted to record this just because you said we could do it at the beginning of the school year or the semester, and I kind of want to do something a little bit different for this one. So the standards that were addressed in the calligraphy were the KV3. It says create art using a variety of tools, media, and processes safely and appropriately. The standards were addressed. How were the standards addressed? For this art standard, I witnessed the calligraphy elective, like I said. There was a lot of practice involved in completing this elective in combination with weekly writing quizzes. For instance, specifically, I think this was a great idea to be able to assess students' understanding of the calligraphy skills because you kind of have to write it out. There's really no other way to assess it. The evaluation that I wrote down for this assessment is that this assessment was the most effective way to understand if students understood how to complete this calligraphy skill. Since these quizzes were weekly and not really summing anything up, I would consider them to be formative assessments. They weren't done at the end of a unit or end of a activity. They were just weekly and constantly learning until the students mastered writing sentences in calligraphy. This way of assessment showed the teacher what letters and combinations she needed to focus on more when discussing them with students. According to the Chappius text that we talked about, formative and summative assessments, this is a great way to indirectly assess students' knowledge. This assessment also goes along directly with the standards that we're wanting to be addressed because it gets students involved in creating various different strategies with different tools safely and appropriately to create the visual arts of calligraphy. So and then I found another text incorporating art into the classroom. And so according to that text, using different tools is the best way to get students a variety and of diverse perspectives in the classroom. So for instance, in the classroom, they were using little marker brush pens, they were using regular pencils, and they were actually using real ink and calligraphy pens. They would dip into the ink and then use just like old-timey calligraphy would. So that's a variety of tools, and that was from the article Incorporating Art into the Elementary Classroom by Young and Mildred. And then creating an assessment. If I were to teach a selective in my future classroom, I would do something very similar, but I would like to go into more detail with each individual letter and how to bridge them together. So the mentor teacher or the teacher that was teaching the selective kind of just taught each letter individually and didn't really teach sentences or teach complete words. So if I were doing that, I would definitely go more into doing words or sentences just so students can know how to bridge those together and make those connections between letters. Let's see. I would also put a fun and creative twist in the assessment, in the formative assessment strategy, in order for students to be able to work together and quiz each other to assess their understandings of these topics. So for example, students could work in pairs. This could also work for scaffolding students who need more assistance. It could work for them. It could work for people who students have mastered it. Either one. But students would work in pairs, and student A could give student B a word, and then they could write it, and then they could see how many words student B could write out, and then vice versa. They could flip back and forth, and then that can be turned into the teacher as a way of an assessment to see how they bridge those gaps together and how they were able to write words out completely. That'd make a fun and creative twist because this elective is not like a super serious in nature one. So it'd make it more fun for students to be able to get involved and learn more. And in the end, like I said, the teacher could take up all the materials and use that to inform her teaching and inform her instruction based on how students are bridging that gap. But thank you for letting me turn this in so late. Everything has been crazy, but I just want to say thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm also going to turn in the written part out just so you can be able to see it. Thank you. Bye.